I have pulled the turbo off of Agnes, the short bus. We have a full kit. Parts are inside. They will come out once we get this torn apart. But we are going to attempt to tear down the turbo and rebuild the turbo for Agnes with a KC Turbos ballast assembly. Make sure we got all of them. All the bolts are out. There it is. Front housing is off. Get this housing bolt out without too much trouble. Try to be gentle, but that will no longer be going on. We are using a high flow housing that eliminates this butterfly. That butterfly is your exhaust back pressure, closes to apply more back pressure, therefore heating the engine faster. So that guy, this is a dirty job. 5/8 there. Tool down. And the wheel is off. This one is actually in really good shape. I don't know what a stock one would look like versus a non-stock one, but other than sooty, no pitting, no dings, no dents, I've seen way worse wheels in a turbo. Still running. If this one wasn't leaking, I may have never opened it up to mess with it, but it is leaking, so. So everybody can see what I'm doing. Once you get that wheel spun off, you have 4 bolts. Those 4 bolts hold this to the center section. Make sure that it's 100% not the source of my boost leaks. Here we go. One more part. That really needs to be cleaned up. Oh, all right. Chemical warfare. Okay. So that's, for reference sake, that is a 270-degree bearing. It's got a hole in it. Makes it easier to install like this. The balanced assembly will be coming with what they call the 360 bearing, which obviously 360 versus 270 goes all the way around. Let's see if this has got enough guts to... Nope. Nope. Now the fun part. Let's see if we can get this to come loose. Get the turbo apart. Oh, we got all kinds of gappage now. Let's see if we can continue this. Look at that. Perseverance. Just keep beating the snot out of it. Eventually, she comes apart. And that
fixes it.
And that is how you get a busted bolt out. Got the open up. This is the KC Turbos kit. I already picked out the gaskets that I know I'm going to need. That goes on the center section. This one goes on here. We're going to be doing the balanced assembly from KC Turbos. We've got the 360 bearing, thrust bearing. We've got the two brass bearings. They're going to go in here. Get them going. Get them soaking. This one's going to soak too, just because it can. Probably ought to soak these. But to make my life a little bit easier, I'm not going to. And then we need these 4 bolts. The center section. That's about all I need out of this kit for now. If there's anything else I need, I'll get back to it, get it later. So I got that. Essentially, we are rebuilding the turbo, going from the 270-degree bearing and the stock wheels to the KC balanced assembly for the billet wheel. So take this apart. Gently. Watching the KC Turbo video, you'll see there's purple. So that's the torque preset. That's where we're going to set it back to. So I don't want to chip off any of that paint, because that's an important part. Instead of torquing it, live rebuild, 336,000 mile turbo on Agnes, my short bus. So that's where you want that to line up. And then this guy, which has the seal for the other side of the turbo housing, that guy goes on there. And there's your thrust bearing.
For elegant logos painted in front of the exquisite NKY balloon backdrop. Get a taste of that New Orleans gumbo or jambalaya and satisfy that sweet tooth with a piece of king cake or macaroons from Lauren's Max. Cupcakes and cookies from the Sugar Bowl bakery.
Ever so gently.
Hurricane as he danced the night away with live music from King Kaiju and DJ Anthony Lawrence of Sound Services DJ Entertainment. Advanced tickets are just $20 per person or $25 at the
It was suggested I use red Loctite. I am using red Loctite, but I also know you don't need to dip the bolt in red Loctite. You only need to put a little bit on there. because obviously you can't torque it once it's all together. Since so nervous. I don't know why. I am like 100% more nervous working on my own stuff than I ever was a customer's vehicle. I had a shop for a long time, and being a wheelchair bus, a lot of high idle time, running the wheelchair lift in and out, getting the people in and out, strapping down wheelchairs, whatever they had to do to make that happen. There was a lot of time on that. Okay, wheel still turns freely. Now, I'm almost out of parts. That means we're almost done. So now you take your wheel, which has all the balancing marks. Charlie talks about this extensively. These are not mess ups. These are not bad castings. That is how the machine, when they balanced the wheel, tells it to balance. That's how they know where the balance on the wheel is at that point. The grinding mark here, they're probably on the exhaust side too. I didn't show anybody that, but I can guarantee that's where they are, because you have to balance it. They balance each component. Then when they're done with the balancing of the component, they balance it as an assembly. That's why there's multiple grinding marks on there. That doesn't mean that it's a bad casting. That doesn't mean anything other than it was balanced the way it was supposed to be balanced. Now I'm going to turn that so I can see my blue mark, which is purple now. I keep saying blue because I watched Charlie's video enough. Wow. A little bit more. There it is. Small wrench. Looks like I'm struggling, but I am not struggling. It's just I don't want to go too far. Gently pull that down, take that off, spin it. Oh yeah. No noises. No play. Just whiz, whoosh, turbo noises. Then you got your O-ring seal. This is what allows the turbo boost to go where the boost is supposed to go. Without that seal, you'll have leaks around the housing and lose boost. And again, hand starting every bolt, threading them down gently. Super awesome. Clearance is great, no issues there. So the last step, without the pedestal O-rings that I'm waiting for, is the exhaust outlet housing. My bus had the exhaust valve, exhaust back pressure valve. This one will not. This one is getting a delete pedestal. All I have to do is make sure I'm clocking it right. it is. High flow exhaust housing, ready to roll. Wheel turns freely. No shaft play. Side to side. Beautiful.